I was worried about doing something and failing, like I maybe had done before, or lapsing back into old habits. Um, and particularly when things are stressful, but in the past I've noticed habits about myself that are stressful and just falling back into those habits really easily. Um, and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to lose any weight at all because I had tried so much before. And, I'm 50. I was 50 when I started. And I was like, is this it? Am I just stuck in this particular place? So when I started this program, I was interested in losing weight, which I'd been interested in before, but I was also interested in just becoming more healthy, becoming more balanced, and thinking about hormones and that in connection with my weight and also just life balance kind of stuff. And I also wanted to do it in a way that felt more authentic to myself than trying to force myself to be in Weight Watchers again, which just filled me with a lot of dread. I didn't want to do it. Other programs that I tried where I just felt like I was trying to force myself to do something that obviously hadn't lasted. I think some of the biggest changes were just the ways I started thinking about food and the way I started thinking about eating. And besides the fact that when the weight started coming off, it felt really good, and it felt really, like I was working a process, instead of battling something. And I think that's an interesting word to use, is that in the past I felt like I have been battling things and it didn't feel like such a battle. But as you and I talked about food and the different types of food and when to eat, and I sort of took the advice that you had and then worked it out on myself to see what actually really worked best for me. That was not just a body changer, but it was a mind changer. The biggest thing was I'd read all these articles about body types and how you should eat. And, I have hypothyroidism, and, you should eat a little bit all the time and that kind of stuff, because I feel like I've opened up, just not having to think about foods, not having to think about, oh my gosh, am I going to eat the right thing? I just eating to where I feel really good, and then moving on with the other stuff that I want to do. That's been a real, that's been a really cool, like, it just changes the way I live. But I felt like I had these anchors that you and I talked about, whether it was, writing, or whether it was the supplements that I was taking, or whether it was thinking about how I was going to plan things. I went back to those, and they felt comforting instead of other things that I've used for comfort, which have been food, or which have been alcohol, which have been, other maybe not so healthy habits. I have to say, when we first talked, I was like, am I really going to spend this much money? But then I started thinking about all of the other things that I've bought before that I've tried that have just made me feel worse about myself. And I'm like, I am worth the investment. So it was I really found that it was for the year that we've spent together, almost a year that we've spent together, it was definitely worth that kind of investment in myself. And I felt like what you gave back to me, besides along with the information, but just the meetings and the ways in which we interacted, I just haven't found it anywhere else. So it really, I thought it was very much worth it. It's an investment in yourself, and it's an investment in your health, and it's an investment in your physical health and your psychological health, that I think that kind of investment has some definite long-term outcomes that you're going to see immediately, and then some that you're going to see over a long period of time that are going to last for a long time, and some that you may not realize until you've been doing this for a while. So, I'm an academic. I teach classes. I think it's just the way education works. And if you're really interested in educating yourself about yourself, it's definitely worth the investment. I think one of the the really valuable things about this too is what you, because you know the information is, I've been able to follow up on the information. You give me a lot of good sources, but I do think the way in which you present the material is, and the way in which you structure how we work together, which I imagine, I don't know, but I imagine how you do it with um, every person is a little different just based on what they need and what they want. That makes it, it just makes it so much more valuable is not the right word, but I think it just makes it, it's so much more of a personalized kind of thing, personalized in a way that it pushes you in this, in the same way that it makes you feel comfortable being pushed, you know. So and I think that that is another thing for me specifically made this so attractive and made me, you know, want to investigate you more when I looked at what your credentials were, and when I looked at the website, and when I looked at the stuff that you had. I thought, you know, this is something that I really want to immerse myself in. And I think that immersion goes along with, you know, you're making this investment, you get in there and just really do it. So I just, it just really worked. It just really worked. So yeah.